The film opens with a very suspenseful scene in which a famous Nazi soldier named Heinrich is being chased by his comrades. He is considered the most dangerous soldier and is today considered a traitor and therefore must be arrested and punished. The operation was led by von Starnfeld, a very brutal leader who will stop at nothing to capture Heinrich. In short, Heinrich was outnumbered, and he was finally captured. He was then put on trial before his comrades. Mr. von Starnfeld said that although Heinrich left World War II when Germany was overwhelmed, war was inexcusable for Heinrich and he would kill innocent souls. He said he was fully aware of this and decided to escape. He said Germany is a murderous state. He was eventually sentenced to hang because he knew he didn't want to plead guilty. He was directly hanged by von Starnfeld's assistant, Dörfler, and then left to die. Before he died, Heinrich saw his wife and daughter. He became nauseous and his heart rate slowed, but suddenly he was helped by a peasant woman named Elsa. At the same time von Starnfeld and his squadron invaded a town in German territory. A short time later, after Heinrich had been unconscious for hours, he finally woke up. There, Elsa and her brother Paul, who has Down syndrome, helped Elsa recover from her injuries. Finally they got to know each other. Meanwhile, von Starnfeld met with a mayor named Robert to inquire about the Lowenstein residence. He said Robert had evicted his family and the house was left in ruins. Upon arrival, von Starnfeld asked about the items in the house. According to Robert, the villagers took over everything a few years ago, but von Starnfeld still wanted to dig the abandoned building for valuables. Robert, on the other hand, looked a little suspicious. He and his lover Sonia seemed to know something about the destroyed house. Meanwhile, Heinrich has lunch with Elsa and Paul. Then she asks why Elsa helped her, and without hesitation Elsa replies that she hated the Nazis who killed her father. That night von Starnfeld and his squadron stopped at Robert's Inn to rest. Von Starnfeld seemed to have more power than Robert and could do whatever he wanted. He also made the site a temporary base off-limits to civilians. Early in the morning von Starnfeld ordered the locals to demolish the Lowenstein's residence. The item they were looking for turns out to be gold nuggets that belonged to the family. Suddenly Dörfler announces that French and American forces will soon arrive in Germany. In addition, the soldiers were exhausted, and if they forced them to search for gold, they would be overwhelmed by the enemy. Von Starnfeld orders Dörfler to resupply supplies and food, but Heinrich has just woken up from his sleep and immediately says goodbye to Elsa. He thanked her for her kindness, but before her departure Elsa wanted to ask him for her help. He was very sorry that he could not help Elsa, because he had to look for her daughter immediately. He then told Elsa about her family. His wife and daughter died in the bombing, but luckily her daughter survived. After listening to her explanation, Elsa decides to release him, but Nazi soldiers approach them just before he leaves. The soldiers turned out to be Dörfler and his company. They searched for cows all over the city. Dörfler immediately orders his men to catch Elsa's chickens. Unable to accept that they were going to their farm, Elsa eventually came out with a gun and threatened them. Elsa warned against eating the whole chicken as it is necessary as well. Dörfler admires Elsa for her bravery and decides to enter her house. She told him that Elsa lived only with her brother, but Dörfler suspected she was hiding something from her brother. Luckily Heinrich was hiding in the attic. Elsa stressed that she only lives with Paul while her fiancé is away. Dörfler suddenly grabbed her pendant, which made her furious and tried to retrieve her pendant. Heinrich saw from the attic that Elsa was about to be raped, and as soon as she became unbearable he attacked her soldiers very brutally. Unfortunately, Dörfler manages to escape, but Heinrich manages to kill all of his soldiers within minutes. Due to this incident, Heinrich had to remove Elsa and Paul from this place, as Dörfler would undoubtedly report them to von Starnfeld soon. Before leaving, they brought back some weapons and other equipment. When Paul was exploring the forest, he suddenly wanted to go back because he had to take care of the cows. Elsa explained that if he returned home he would die. Meanwhile, Delfler was treated at the inn and of course reported everything that happened at Elsa's house. Driven by revenge, he is determined to kill everyone, including Heinrich. At the same time we took a break around the campfire. The three decided to take refuge in a cave on the cliff. Before going to bed, Heinrich told Elsa that she had only met her daughter once when she was just born. He was worried that her daughter would not recognize him, but Elsa convinced him that everything would be fine. In the morning, Elsa finds Paul gone. They panicked and immediately went looking for him. As they expected, Paul had returned home to tend the cows. As a result, he was taken prisoner by Delfler and his army. He was also tortured to reveal the whereabouts of Elsa and Heinrich. Delfler then also shot Paul's favorite cow and burned Paul's house along with the bodies of the Nazi soldiers Heinrich had slaughtered. Elsa cries hysterically as she watches her brother being kidnapped by the villagers. On the other hand, von Starnfeld had not yet found the Jewish family's gold. He then called Robert and asked where the gold was. Robert pretended not to know. Von Starnfeld thought that the people of this town were not obedient enough to him, and decided to hang Paul in front of everyone so that the people would fear him. Meanwhile, Heinrich and Elsa arrive in the city and see the crowd. Shortly thereafter, the Starnfeld priests forbade the murder of Paul. Von Starnfeld then ordered Delfler to beat himself. Heinrich saw Elsa about to go into her crowd and immediately stopped her. Afterwards, they sought help from a local named Irmgard, while Paul was taken to the top of the church's bell tower for execution, before two soldiers mocked him and called him an idiot. He got irritated and attacked them both. One was pushed down the tower and the other was shot by him. During the riot, Heinrich and Elsa secretly enter the church and Paul spirals out of control and begins firing at other Nazi troops. Unfortunately, Paul had to die after being shot in the head by Starnfeld. Elsa couldn't hold back her tears at the sight of her bloody brother, but she didn't even have time to cry, knowing that von Starnfeld would find her. Outside the church, von Starnfeld threatens to shoot Robert and the inhabitants if they don't talk about the money, but suddenly Elsa von Starnfeld somehow doesn't get hit. Instead of attacking them, they somehow repulsed von Starnfeld. She fell in love with her while von Starnfeld is obsessed with Elsa. Delfler and the others decide to pursue Heinrich. Luckily he had a grenade in his pocket. A shootout then erupted on the roof of the church. Henry ran out of ammunition and had to use his wits to defeat Delfler and the others. He cornered the Nazis and hurled grenades at them. And he jumped out of there and ran away. Unfortunately, Heinrich was thwarted by several soldiers who were watching below him. Whether she liked it or not, he had to get her out at once. There he met Delfler, who was strong enough to hold him back. Just as Heinrich is about to finish off, the city is suddenly attacked by American aircraft. Heinrich, badly wounded and unable to fight the whole army, took advantage of this attack and fled and hid in Irmgard's house. Irmgard saw the wounded Heinrich, treated him immediately, and allowed him to stay for a while. Seeing Heinrich reminded him of his son, who was killed in Italy during the war. Shortly thereafter, the priest appeared after burying Paul. Heinrich then asks about Elsa's whereabouts and the main purpose of von Starnfeld's forces there. The priest then tells her that Elsa has been arrested and that the Nazi squadron was there to loot the money from a Jewish family, the Loewensteins. Meanwhile, Robert sneaks into the basement to meet up with two friends. It turns out that the three already knew where the money was, but Robert decided to tell von Starnfeld because he didn't want his child killed, but when he was about to leave, suddenly a shovel hit him directly. He dropped into the ground. It turns out that it was Sonia who beat him. Sonia then ordered one of the men to kill Robert with a shovel. Around the same time, Elsa was in von Starnfeld's room. He invited her to a romantic dinner. Von Starnfeld said Elsa looks a lot like her ex-husband. At her time, he could not marry her because her mistress was Jewish. As a result, after von Starnfeld shot her dead, she kept her ring in her left eye, which he had given her cut out in front of her all along. He then knelt before Elsa and put her ring on her finger. Meanwhile, the pastor and Irmgard were talking about the Lowenstein family. They were the only Jewish family in town, but since Hitler carried out the genocide of the Jews, Robert did the same for the Lowensteins, a respected family that has never harmed anyone. During the riot, Sonia and the others find a gold nugget. She then hid it in her grave. Meanwhile, Sonia had decided to take the gold nuggets with her tonight. They visited the tomb and tried to take the gold back, but they found the Bible in the coffin, and unexpectedly it turned out that the money had been taken by the priest and hidden in the church. Heinrich persuades the priest to give von Stauffenfeld the gold to save Elsa. Meanwhile, Elsa has just fled the room while von Stauffenfeld is sleeping. Then she saw the ring on von Stauffenfeld's finger. Out of her curiosity, she examined her ring and found a hidden compartment with an unknown pill inside. Unfortunately, Mr. von Stauffenfeld suddenly woke up when he managed to retrieve the pill. Elsa immediately pretended to seduce him and asked for a kiss. Then she put the pill in von Stauffenfeld's mouth with her mouth and cracked it with her jaw. It turns out that it was a cyanide tablet that caused von Stauffenfeld's death. Meanwhile, Sonia and the others found the priest and attacked him with a shovel. At the same time, Heinrich threw a gold nugget into the inn to provoke the villagers. Heinrich said that if the villagers wanted to free Elsa, he would give them all the money. He then goes to see how Elsa is doing, but when he goes to his boss's room, von Stauffenfeld is dead and Elsa is not there either, much to his surprise. Dörfler also took advantage of the situation to lead his army. He then attempted to trick Heinrich by using Robert's wife as a fake Elsa to surprise and attack Heinrich. The sound of the explosion reached Elsa's ears, who had just arrived at Irmgard's house. She really wanted to help Heinrich, but she didn't have a gun. At that time, Irmgard showed off his collection of guns that he often used for hunting. Meanwhile, the monk is interrogated by Sonia, who does not move even after being beaten several times. Heinrich von Dörfler was also interrogated, as was the pastor. He even received a blood transfusion from Dörfler himself so that he would not die before the gold was discovered. The next morning, the pastor took Sonia to the church to collect the money. Sonia planned to kill the priest if she got the money. Not long after, the gold was finally found, but without their knowledge, the priest had successfully killed Sonia's minions by setting a trap with a grenade. After a while Dörfler entered the church with his company. He was very surprised to see the dirty state. It turns out that he still has gold nuggets left. Dörfler then murdered the priest so that no one could stop him. Dörfler then asked his soldiers to get him a coffin to put all the gold nuggets in, but outside the church, Elsa was ready to role-play. She then fired into the church. Thanks to her shooting, the entrance to the church was blocked by a collapsing wall, and Irmgard also succeeded in killing the village's soldiers. When Irmgard saw the priest's body, he came to himself and tried to stab the villager to death, but at the moment he was about to kill the villager, he was suddenly shot in the head. When Elsa saw this, she was enraged and immediately shot Heinrich dead while he was dying. Elsa successfully destroys all of Dörfler's army, but unfortunately Dörfler manages to get back on his feet despite being stabbed. He then beat Elsa until she fell to the ground. He was caught off guard as he strangled her. Suddenly Heinrich was able to stand up and kill the villagers. He then stuffed Dörfler's mouth with gold nuggets, and Heinrich and Elsa left the church. It turns out that one of the Nazi soldiers is still alive. When he looked at the gold nuggets and was about to get everything, suddenly Sonia, who turned out to be alive, shot him. She then took all the gold and fled the city, but she did not last long as an American soldier who had just arrived in the city shot her with a tank shell and her explosion blew her away. I did. At the end of the film, Heinrich invites Elsa to go to the streets of Hagen to meet her daughter. He was very happy to finally see his daughter again. End. Conclusion. In a riveting tale of betrayal, courage, and redemption, the film masterfully unfolds the saga of Heinrich, a hunted Nazi soldier turned unlikely hero. Against a backdrop of brutality and chaos, Heinrich's path crosses with Elsa, who emerges as a beacon of resistance. Together, they navigate a treacherous journey, defying both their adversaries and their own demons, ultimately finding solace in reunion and newfound hope for a shattered world. Thanks again from Movies Recapped. If you enjoyed this movie recap, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating narratives and engaging content.